I'm very happy that you are taking part or that you are part of this webinar and want to learn more about packaging inspection. I will share my screen that you have the presentation. Okay. My name is Doreen, and before I started working for EyeC, I was working in the food industry, and I learned a lot about the high quality standards of the production and the product security. I'm also a certified auditor for ISO standard 9001, so I have an idea what questions an auditor asks you as a pharmaceutical company. EyeC is an expert and technology leader for quality inspection of printed materials. It's an owner-managed company with a headquarter based in Hamburg, and by now we have about 70 employees. And we are working very close together with our sales and service partners in 25 countries. So this is the reason why we have over 3,000 inspection systems installed in about 100 countries. Today's webinar is planned for about 30 minutes, and regarding some organizational aspects, you are muted as the attendees, and if you want to raise any questions, please feel free. You can raise your hands for this, and my colleague Susan will keep an eye on any questions, and we can unmute you that you can ask your questions right away, or you have the possibility to use the F&A question button in the bar of your Zoom down below and type in your questions, or we have a Q&A session after this webinar. Yeah, about the agenda of today's webinar, I want to give you an insight to the role of pharmaceutical packaging. We are talking about the international law, the GMP-compliant packaging inspections and the regulations. And I would like to introduce electronic inspection with EyeC. I give you an insight into our software, what we can do to support you with the validation process. And in the end, I have an application example. Yes, calling packaging a matter of life and death sounds a bit dramatic, but speaking of pharmaceuticals, I think it's kind of true, because the packaging of pharmaceutical plays a very, very important role. So in Europe, pharmaceuticals are almost exclusively delivered to the end customer in folding boxes that are printed with different information. So the packaging itself protects the pharmaceutical against physical damage or biological contamination, and with that provides against the quality degradation. The packaging also provides information about the product's identification, the handling, the correct storage, the dosage, and the traceability. Packaging also protects against counterfeit and fraud with different security features, with the correct layout and specific colors of the manufacturer. The packaging carries identification and labeling according to the regulatory requirements. So all in all, the packaging needs to be flawless to protect the consumer, and with that, the health of the human. So just imagine the impact of a wrong dosage or a wrong handling and storage on the packaging material. Coming to the international law, a few decades ago, the first drafts emerged to create a uniform standard to make the products safer. The reason why is a very sad one, because there are two major scandals in the past due to the use of pharmaceuticals. So we had in 1937 over 100 deaths, and mostly children among them, attributed to a cough syrup that they are drinking. And around 1960, we had a Contagan scandal in Europe, which caused severe malformation of children. So in order to increase the protection of humans' life and to make the processes and the product themselves safer, the national regulations were formulated and implemented in each country. So anyone who wants to manufacture or distribute a product must meet these requirements. So, however, every country has a national law. So I created a map to highlight the most important ones. You might recognize your national laws here. For instance, in Germany, it's Arzneimittelgesetz, das deutsche Arzneimittelgesetz. We have the European Medicine Agency in the for Europe, and also very important is the US Food and Drug Administration. So it's impossible to show every regulation that are in the world in just one map, but I wanted to highlight some of those. But all laws have this in common: the safety of pharmaceutical products and the good manufacturing practice, short GMP. So these GMP guidelines are implemented in local European regulations, and they are also incorporated into the Code of Federal Regulation, short CFR, in the collection, or it's a collection of US legal texts under the Annex 21. We are coming to that later. I want to give you some information about GMP. Most of you are aware of this, but I want to highlight this in this webinar. GMP are general guidelines to assure the quality during production processes and the facilities of drugs and components for cosmetics and food and medical devices. So these guidelines were created to build up trust in the industry. You can't control every pill that is produced. That is impossible, but you can control the production processes where the pill is made. So if you have a secure process and you are doing spot checks to make sure that or you're making spot checks and there are no findings, you can make sure that every pill has the same standard and is safe in this process. The manufacturer always needs to prove evidence that the machines and processes for the pharma industry or the pharma products are safe, even the packaging material that his supplier delivers. So most relevant for EyeC inspection systems is, as mentioned, the CFR 21 Part 11. This highlights the electronic signature and electronic reporting. EyeC itself doesn't need to be compliant to all pharmaceutical requirements because we are not producing any pills or any medications, and we are not in direct contact with any of it. We are just inspecting the packaging material and mainly the secondary packaging material. We are delivering the documentation and support that you need to be compliant to this GMP standard. Why are we doing this? As you all might know, violating against this regulations, for instance, misleading information of the dosage of the product, mixed up products can be very crucial. So we have high penalties and even imprisonment is possible. So, and it doesn't matter if this happens knowingly or unintentionally. And the manufacturer is always liable for the product and the distribution. And this is why the manufacturer needs to ensure that the suppliers are producing according to the GMP standard. So you can't inspect everything that is delivered, but you can do spot checks. So in this case, if you are a manufacturer of a pharmaceutical, you will have a printer who is printing your folding carton, the secondary packaging. You can't stand next to the printing press. You have to make sure that the printer is producing according to the GMP standards, and then you can do spot checks to prove the standards. So there are different parameters for the spot check that need to be checked. So we have the physical, chemical, and biological inspection. This is mainly for primary packaging, which is in direct contact with the pharmaceutical. And these will be done mostly in laboratories. So I would like to focus on secondary packaging, so the already printed folding cartons that are not in direct contact with the medication. And we are doing an optical inspection and looking for the text. Is the text readable? Is the text correct? Do graphic objects or are graphic objects in the right position? The colors on the printed material, is it correct? Is it the correct color design, especially for the company's color? We have 2D codes and barcodes. Are they carrying the right information? And also the braille, is the embossing correct? Is it flawless on the packaging material? Does it contain the correct information? And also the cut line of the whole product. All these points of the optical inspection can be checked manually, of course, but this is where we came up because we want to support you in this process by a computer-supported inspection system. And also the documentation is electronic according to the CFR standards. A GMP-compliant packaging inspection contains different settings or different requirements. So we remember GMP requires always a written evidence that the processes that were planned results in a good product and a secure process and is according to the applicable law. So every manufacturer has an obligation to provide the proof. And there are several requirements for the GMP-compliant packaging inspection, such as data integrity. Data integrity is a very important topic and is getting more and more important, that all the data that we are collecting, that the data is complete, is consistent, accurate, and trustworthy and reliable, and also passed through the entire process. We have the audit trailing. It's absolutely inevitable. It collects every data of changes that are done to a process or in a process. We also have a 4I principle for any inspection that has to be done, and the electronic signature, which needs to be unique with the name, a date, the machine, and needs to be compliant to the CFR 21 Part 11. The GMP-compliant packaging requires documented inspection results and is protecting from manipulation, or the inspection needs to be protected. So what can EyeC do to support you that you fulfill the GMP requirements? First, I'd like to give you an overview what EyeC offers for solutions for your print inspection. And afterwards, you will have an insight into our print inspection solution. So we are the only supplier who supports your the printing inspection throughout the entire process. So we are starting in the pre-press department from the first draft of your sample, where you can compare PDF against PDF file. Then we have a sample testing and the incoming quality control for spot checks. We have a scan. This is a scanner-based systems in different formats from A4, DIN A4 format and up to DIN A0. And with these scanners, you can compare PDF against scanned image. And also we have the possibility to inspect 100% inline, so on the printing press during the printing process. Different materials can be inspected, folding boxes, labels, flexible packaging, leaflets, blister, so everything that you can imagine. What EyeC does to support you to be GMP compliant is a secure and very well documented process. And we have the electronic signature. So if you're starting an inspection and the system gives you the deviations or the deviations between the PDF and the scanned image, I will show you later. Then you will have a report in the end with all the findings and all the parameters for this inspection. And this inspection will be closed with the electronic signature, which is unique. Then all the data of the report is stored on the database, and we have a database connection to connect the profiler with the review station. And the review station is a time and location independent review possible. So the reviewer can double check the inspection that my operator did before. So we remember this was a GMP requirement, and the 4I principle. We also have an audit trailing and the audit trail viewer, which simplifies the review of the audit trail data. I will show you afterwards. And we can also do code and braille inspection, barcodes, data matrix, and braille according to the applicable law, the ISO standards. We also have the integration to LIMS, so Laboratory Information System Management System, and SAP, which smooths your process for where you can collect data and store your reports, or your final inspection results. We also have we have the installation, training on site, and maintenance for the hardware and the software. And we have the validation support, EyeC, OQ, FATSAT, PQ. I'll come to that later. Or now. The EyeC software is developed to follow the guidelines of the ISO standard 9001, GMP, and GAMP5, and contains all necessary functions for an inspection under the guidelines set out in the US FDA CFR 21 Part 11. So we are giving you a best-in-class support for your validation. We have an own department who is supporting your validation process. We have EyeC, OQ documentation, so installation and operational qualification. And we are also experts for your process qualification. This can't be done by us because it's your process, but we can support you which questions should be raised and answered, that you have a good PQ at your site. The validation package provides the documentation and the answers of the requirements of the CFR 21 Part 11. And in this package, you have also factory acceptance tests and site acceptance tests, sample user requirement specifications, certificates, and all the manuals of the products that are interesting for you. And the advantages of this validation package were proven in many audits at our customers. So we are very happy to offer this validation support for you. Okay, introducing the profiler finally. The profiler is a scanner-based system where you can compare PDF scanned against a scanned image, or two scanned images against each other. And it's we have different formats. I already mentioned that. So you're loading the PDF file and you are scanning your image. This is an image with the braille. And the software is comparing this image against the PDF and is highlighting the different deviation because it's a pixel-based comparison, and the operator needs to qualify or identify these deviations and evaluate it if these are quality relevant or are good to go. So after we did this examination and went through all the deviations that the system is showing me, we are getting a report with all the data of the parameters that we used for the inspection with a statistic of how many deviations were rated as good or as bad. And also the report, the cover page with the electronic signature of the first inspector or the first operator and the reviewer. The review station enables you to separate the reviewing process in terms of time and location. So it's independent from the examination in the profiler. We did the examination in the profiler just now and stored, or the report with the first electronic signature of the operator is stored in the database via the database connection. And now we can open the review station and using this for the double check. And we can release the batch of the packaging material. So this application helps you to manage your job pending for approval, and you can also have a statistic of how many inspections are ready to review, how many you have accepted, how many have been rejected. And I have to add something from before. After finishing this, the report will be generated with the cover pages so that we have 2 electronic signatures from the operator who did the inspection in the profiler, and also the second electronic signature from the reviewer who did this review in the reviewing station. Now we have the audit trail viewer. It's absolutely inevitable for the connection in connection with the GMP environments. So the audit trail viewer is an application to simplify the review of your audit trail data that has been collected during the profiler inspection. So you can easily load the data, and you can sort and filter the trailing data. And you can also use predefined filter settings for regular use. For instance, you want to know, or you are doing a quarterly check for changed parameters, because it's crucial if someone is changing the parameter settings. For instance, the defect size was raised in the parameters. It's very important that you know if someone is changing anything in your system. So for this quarterly check, you can predefine the filters in here. And so the user, the PC, the type of information that you want to filter, and then you can open here the filter, the predefined. We have here all the detailed information about the profiler data entries, and yeah, a list, an overview, and on the right-hand side, we have the detailed information. So these GMP regulations are checking the documentations in audits. So to prove the quality assurance, documents have to be created and throughout the entire process. So the audit trail, the audit trail is taking all these data. And the examination that you just did, for instance, the quarterly check for change parameter settings, can be also exported as a PDF file and can be used in these audits. And it's also possible to use these audit trail viewer to optimize your processes. So for example, you can create a statistic on how often a job was rejected due to a lot of deviations. So then you can go into this information and may find the information that my printer A has more rejected spot checks than my printer B. So then I can go into the discussion with my printer A, what can be improved in the process that there are less rejected spot checks. So this can also help you to minimize the time of inspection, the costs that are due to the rejection, and optimize the time of the process. Yeah, in the end, I would like to give you a short overview of a network application and how it could look like. Just keep in mind that every installation at a customer site could be a bit different. So if you are interested in how the infrastructure of the profiler and the database could be at your site, please don't hesitate to contact us and our service team. We will find the best fitting solution for you. But this is the most common, and yeah, I would like to introduce this. So we have the EyeC Profiler 600 DT. It's a scanner-based system in the size of A3 format. It's perfect for a leaflet inspection, or you can also inspect 2 or 3 folding cartons at the same time. Then we have the database or the customer SQL server, where we have the database of the profiler. Then we have the workplaces where we have installed the review station and the audit trail viewer. We have the customer file server. From this server, we can collect the PDF files we need for our inspection, and we can restore the reports on this file server afterwards. And it's also possible to integrate this installation to your LIMS or SAP system. Okay, then we have the reports. Okay, so if this was just an overview of the international law, the GMP requirements, the introduction of the profiler, and it's just half an hour, but I hope this gives you a good overview of what is possible to have a computer-based inspection of your spot checks in the incoming good control. And if you want to have a deeper look into our software and the possibilities, there will be the next webinar on June 13. And then we have a closer look into the software. We are doing a demo with a folding carton using the Braille. And yeah, you are invited to join me for the next webinar, where we have a much deeper look into the program itself. And I would like to invite all of you to our next exhibitions. It's the Drupa, end of May, beginning of June in Düsseldorf, Germany. And we also have the PCI in Warsaw. It's in the middle of June. Ah, the banner just says, okay, maybe it's, I can't read it because it's not my language, but you are also invited to the PCI days. So if you are interested in our product, please feel free to contact us. We give you more insights in our product, in the possibilities that we have to support you. And yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And yeah, thank you for your attendance. Okay, then thank you very much. And remember the dates, end of June, it's Drupa. There we will highlight our inspection systems, and you can always contact us to get an appointment at the booth, so we can give you an individual demo of our software. Also the PCI in Warsaw, middle of June, and the next webinar, June 13. So I'm happy that you all joined, and hope you will join for the next event. And enjoy your day.